Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes.
Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome
Hello.
to the Nonprofit Network, hashtag Fundraiser Fanatics, powered by Stokes Auction Group.
Woo.
Polly Schenfeld here.
Kelly Schenfeld.
Shelby Stokes.
Ta-da!
Okay, now that everybody knows who we are and what we're doing.
Who are we? Let's unpack that.
There's not enough time to unpack that. Let's be real. There's not enough time.
Okay.
It is officially February. Here we go. We said that last week, but now it feels real. Super Bowl's next week.
Yeah, so is Valentine's Day.
Do you got, let's celebrate, let's focus on Super Bowl, okay? Let's focus on some fun. Do you have any, Super Bowl dish that you are jonesing for, that you got on the docket? Where are you at there?
Are you asking moi?
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to do a turkey chili with paninis.
That is way too healthy for
really?
a Super Bowl party.
You're invited, by the way.
That sounds good.
Jamie's working. Come. Be one with all of the Super Bowl.
Wow.
You didn't want to come until you said, hey, paninis
Panini.
and chili. And then you're like, oh, okay. All
Chili
I'll be
panini.
there. What about you, Paul? You have a go-to?
I'm not all that complicated, but I like to make nachos with, chicken breast, and I'll slice up the chicken breast,
Yeah, yum.
Okay.
put them in the nacho, each individual nacho,
Oh, that's awesome. Bring enough for about 20 people, okay?
and then you
feel
get a
like-
little bit of guacamole, sour cream, some cilantro,
Guacamole.
cheese.
Cheese con queso. Cheese con
And
queso
just put it
all
in the
day.
oven so it melts the cheese.
Cheese con queso?
Yeah.
Not queso.
No, what is it? Cheese con queso.
Is that like chili con
That's
carne?
definitely not right. That's cheese
It's
with cheese.
queso.
Translated.
Yeah, it's queso.
Something con queso.
No.
Yeah.
So that's like saying, no, it's
Well,
wrong.
you put diced tomatoes, block of Velveeta,
It's queso.
and some sort of mystery meat, and
It's
then you're good to go.
queso. Okay, there
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Sort of mystery meat.
Sort of mystery meat. Italian sausage, ground beef,
Okay, what are we going to talk about?
chili con queso. Ha! There it is, chili con queso. Today we're going to talk about some things. We are well on our way, and the season has just kind of begun. In terms of running through last week and what we kind of heard from the office on the earlier in the week, it feels like everyone is waking up and getting ready to go back to the fundraising event, which is really cool. It also feels like there's a lot of communication happening in a very rapid fashion right now. And that can sometimes be good because we're getting a lot of issues dealt with in a very timely manner, but at the same time, it has to be a two-way street in regards to communication. One event we specifically helped with this last weekend, auctioneer goes to show up, had little to no communication with client because there was a breakdown in getting a call back, and got there and there was no audio. And that kind of presented some issues because the auctioneer kind of walks in, gets ready to put the presentation on, and all of a sudden they're in a big cavernous gym with no audio abilities whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think as a committee, and especially as a chairperson, you have an obligation to your organization as well as the people that you're hiring. It could be the venue, it could be Stokes Auction Group, it could be, a caterer, it could be rental companies for your tables and chairs, but you have an obligation to communicate with your vendors. Remember, you are not as important to them as they are to you, except at Stokes Auction Group.
Well said. And there's a checklist that everybody who is
You
doing
have
this
that.
type of job should use. And I get it. Things get forgotten. I just can't wrap my head around you forgetting a sound system.
Yeah, I mean,
I just can't. For some reason, that's like, you got a room full of 200 people in a gym. How does that get overlooked?
But if in fact you're used to it being different, right, and that maybe it's been different people in charge of different things, then you would see it easily overlooked. Maybe there was a thought that was a part of the auctioneer, that they brought their own sound.
Yeah.
There could have been that thought. There could have been the thought that the venue or the school or the restaurant had something, right? That could be a thing. So it is basically assuming things. I don't think there is any room for assumption in events. And the only reason is because night of, you want to be able to know for a fact that you got every box checked on your list and just enjoy the evening. Whatever happens night of, if it's reactionary, it's going to add more stress. And like we've been talking all along, we want to keep as much stress out of this whole mixture as possible.
Right. And that becomes our goal. Once everything is on site and in motion, is to relieve as much stress as we can.
Yeah.
What we come to find in some of these scenarios is that there just wasn't enough pre-planning to the point where it was handed off and it's now go time. And therefore, we're like building the plane on the way down, if you will, which is kind of what happened this weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Lists.
Thankfully, the situation was able to be fixed, and the show went on, and they had a good night. And, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. We'll figure out a way, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, Paul had a guy that was a friend. He basically came in and set up sound and saved the day.
Yeah.
But communication, it always goes back to communication. That's always the number one most important thing in my mind. I understand how things can get forgotten, though. Things happen.
They do. It's busy. You're busy, and it happens.
And
But
this is the events industry.
it is the events industry.
It's going to be a little loose sometimes. You're going to be rolling with the punches from time to time.
I will say the looser it is, especially coming up to it, the worse you could be setting yourself up for letdown. So try to get it tight in the beginning, in those committee meetings, as well as when you're delving out. This was a perfect example of what not to do on a podcast. Turn your phone off. Checklist. Turn your phone off in case your daughter calls.
Who's calling?
Epic
It's
fail.
the daughter with
daughter.
the sick boy.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a perfect example of a checklist. Turn your phone off. Make sure you're on record. Make sure you've tested your mic. Did we test the mic?
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
See? Make sure you're wearing the right thing.
Shoot.
All wearing black. Check. Make sure your bellies are full. That's my checklist. Check. So, you know what I'm saying? It's silly but simple. The more organized you are, the less stress you will have. Keep it tight.
Yeah, and also, like, some communication is better than no communication.
Oh, heck
And
yeah.
I think that was a breakdown that we saw just recently was, if there would have been any communication with the parties that be, we could at least get ahead of this or say, hey, I understand you have other things, other issues that you're taking care of. Let us take this portion of it. And because that didn't happen, we reacted in the moment, and luckily it all turned out. Like, the day wasn't ruined by any means, but I feel like if we weren't able to get lucky on how that played out, it wouldn't have been as successful as it was.
Yeah, and I'm a control freak, and so I'm sitting amongst a couple of control freaks. So I understand that those people that would be in a position to be a chairperson or whatever could also have that personality. It's a great personality trait sometimes, most of the time. But that person may also say, oh, I'll take care of it, and then it's not written down. They forget about it. That's how that falls.
Yeah, and this client specifically is one that we helped 2 or 3 years ago, pre-pandemic. They had a good thing going, good pieces in place, then they came back with a new chair, and this person obviously did not have the ducks in the row like they have in the past, or could have been a completely new individual altogether. So I guess back to the over communication rather than under communication is always a benefit.
Yeah.
And I also say that in the same breath as I say a lot of individuals that are tuning in here have full-time jobs as it is.
That's right.
So for them to go above and beyond and find the hours to dedicate to something can be challenging. We get that, but still some communication is better than none.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to have a plan in place, and you got to have people amongst you to help you do it, and you got to be able to communicate your mission to everybody.
Something that's kind of cool that we do is our consultants have our own checklists inside our office where when they're communicating with our people, they're saying, hey, at 90 days out, we should be here, here, and here. Do you have that done? 60 days out, we're here, here, and here. Do you have that done? So our company can also kind of be that reminder to you to get those lists in order for all 4 of you that are watching.
Yeah, definitely. And we're coming into a new year, and it is 2023, and we hope that we start on the right foot. Having that open and honest communication with you or your parties that be, it only benefits you. So try to make that maybe a New Year's resolution for
Or
your
a
group.
revolution.
It's a revolution.
It's a revolution! It's a revolution! revolution for the list takers and the list makers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. That's all on that.
Oh, that
Exactly.
is burned into my skull now.
Forever.
Forever.
That's your new playlist.
Revolution of the
Wormhole.
listings.
The revolution of the lists. So yeah, we're excited. We're going to be rolling into the season. I know I'm hopping on a plane this week, and you start looking at the next 6 weeks, and you're like, okay, let's do something.
Yeah.
So we're excited. A little bit. There's some anticipation. I don't know that.
Anticipation.
I wouldn't call it nervousness. I'd call it anticipation, right?
Oh, you don't want to hear that.
All right.
Is that a real
I'm
song?
having a singing thing today. Yes. You're just used to hearing it in your house differently because you have a little girl that has a thing that rhymes with anticipation.
Anticipation. That's right. Frozen, the Anticipation soundtrack.
I can anticipate The Office being bombarded
Yeah.
with a lot of sequencing coming up here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you have a chance to get out ahead of that,
Do it.
send us your items and let us do that for you. Because to do it well and do a thorough job, it takes a little bit of time and some research. So it would be better for us that we don't have 30 of them to do all on the same day.
Right. Also, in that sequencing, make sure that you earmark an item that is maybe so like you give us 5 dinners. If one of the dinners is with the chairperson and their spouse at their ranch with a wine tasting with a local chef that's very famous, we need to know those things. If it just says dinner with so-and-so for 6 and another one says dinner for so-and-so with 6 and one is having it with a kindergartner and peanut butter and jelly, those are 2 separate items.
So what you're saying is the devil is in the details.
Devil is in the details.
Which
Yes.
is kind of what we're getting at here, right? Oh, it turns out you might need a sound system. The devil is in the details.
Yes.
For certain. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to keep this episode a little bit short, but
Yes.
next week we're coming back strong. And we're excited to be in the season. We're going to be doing a live Q&A next week. So if you'd like to be a part of that, please join us at 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes. And
On
lovers,
Tuesday.
listen to me.
Okay.
Let's celebrate Valentine's Day today.
Well,
Next week
Okay.
is the 14th, our Q&A. Spread the love. Make a list to yourself. Sequence what you're going to do for your lover. That's pretty good.
Sequence your lover. Well,
Get a plan.
Don't
together.
sequence your lovers. That's not what I said. I said sequence your list for your lover.
sequence your list. for
Sequencing your lover.
Yep.
That could be very bad.
I don't even know what that looks like. But
I
okay.
neither don't want to talk about
No,
it.
it's about you. Thanks for being with us, guys. We appreciate being with us. You can check out more, follow on our social pages or attached description. Yeah, thanks for being with us. We
Yeah,
appreciate
watch
you
us. We're
being with us
funny.
this week and every week.
Yeah.
We're
Right?
funny.
Yeah, and we're
So watch us.
and we're fanatics.
We're fanatics about
Of
fundraisers.
fundraising,
Brr.
fundraisers, fanaticking.
We are fundraiser fanatics.
Hey, guys, be good to yourself and to the people around you. Thank you.
Yeah. Go out. Be courageous.
And go do good. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.